The Pretend-gineers lie comfortably behind the bookshelves in their natural habitat. They may seem cute and friendly, but make no mistake, as they're actually a deadly invasive species. They spot their prey, a thermo assignment, and with that, they begin their ritual. One Pretend-gineer abuses ChatGPT for answers, while the second Pretend-gineer turns to Chegg to find existing solutions. And lastly, the third plagiarizes an old assignment from an upper year engineering student. They continue their ritual, learning jack shit in the process. The Pretend-gineers' main predators, professors, are oblivious to the Pretend-gineers, and unfortunately, the Pretend-gineers once again get away with their unethical hunt. So I'm a third-year engineering student studying in Canada, and this country is the only country in the entire world that requires all engineering graduates to receive an iron ring upon graduation. And you might be thinking, what the fuck is this iron ring? And you know, I was thinking the same thing at first, but it actually carries a very, very deep meaning. So I myself was first introduced to it in my first year of engineering when I walked into a lecture hall, and sat at the front were 4 people wearing varsity jackets, red varsity jackets, looking like some stereotypical high school bully or something about to take my lunch money. But it actually turned out that they were just members of the engineering society at my university, and they were just wearing their merch. And they were here to give a presentation telling all the engineering students about this iron ring. 115 years ago in Montreal, Canada, a team of engineers was going to design the longest cantilever bridge of all time in the entire world. And when this team of engineers finally finished the design for it and construction started, there was actually some warning signs about the materials warping and bending when it wasn't supposed to. And this was actually a safety concern for these construction workers. However, the engineers, they responded like, oh, we don't have enough time. We got bridges. We got the world's greatest bridge to be built. They were like so hyped about it. They were so overconfident in themselves. So they said, it's okay. We'll ignore these warning signs. 1907, that bridge that was being constructed collapsed, killing 75 construction workers that were on site. No CEO at fault. Not the financial team at fault, not the marketing team at fault, but the engineers were at fault. And the result of it was lives being taken. Men who had family waiting for them to come back from their shift at work. However, their family never saw that father, that husband, that son ever again because of the engineers who decided to ignore and neglect the safety warnings. At the time, even I myself was a bit of a Pretend-gineer who skipped lectures and wasn't that passionate about engineering, but that was deep for me. We all see Pretend-gineers around university in our engineering lectures, and imagine the risk that's being put into human life if these Pretend-gineers continue their unethical behavior once they graduate university. After that engineering disaster occurred, one engineering professor at the University of Toronto decided that something must be changed. Not just a change in behavior, but a physical reminder for all engineers across Canada. And he ideated the iron ring, which would be actually worn on the pinky finger, because whenever an engineer draws or writes on a piece of paper or types on a keyboard, that ring is going to scratch that paper or scratch that keyboard, and therefore remind them to act and proceed with integrity. It's a bit of a myth to make it sound cool, but some people say that the ring is actually made from the iron or the steel that the bridge that collapsed was made of. I like to think it's true. Rudyard Kipling, who is actually the writer of the Jungle Book, wrote out how the ceremony for the iron ring would take place. And today, engineering graduates across all universities in Canada are required to go through the iron ring ceremony, receive their iron ring, and pledge to being an ethical engineer and act with integrity through their career in engineering. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the iron ring ceremony honestly looks like some sort of cult meeting, but I do believe that it is a good thing for engineering graduates of Canada to do, because engineering is not only a career, not only a source for a fat paycheck, but it's a responsibility to provide service, ethical service for humanity. And I myself, 1 year from now, as I'm a third year engineering student myself, 1 year from now, I'm going to receive that iron ring. And I can't wait for it. Not just to look stylish, but to have that promise of integrity ingrained into my career. So it was in my first year of engineering again, and my lab session was about to end. There was like 10 minutes left, everyone was packing their bags, everyone's making small talk. And in through the door walks this lost looking engineering student. He looks lost as hell, he's so confused looking at everyone. And then he walks up to my lab group and he asks, "Yo, is this the SolidWorks lab?" And then I respond, "Yeah, this is the SolidWorks lab." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I showed up late. I thought the class started right now." My lab group allowed him to join. And that lost looking guy was my first friend in engineering school, Sean. I hung out a lot with Sean, and he actually seemed really smart to me. He was from India and he was in the CBSE program, which is apparently like a high schooling program. And I looked up to him kind of. I was like, wow, I'm sure that this guy could teach me a lot. However, the more I hung out with him, the more I realized that he was taking a bit of shortcuts, you know. He was using a lot of Google to look up answers unethically. He was using Chegg to get answers for his questions on his assignments unethically. And then I realized he's not what I thought he was. He was a cheater, a pretend-gineer, someone that acted unethically through their engineering work, and he was only an engineering student. I didn't think deeply about it at the time, but now at the point where I'm at right now, I know for a fact that he was not a good influence on me. I kept watching him using Chegg and Chegg whenever we would study in the library, but I just let it slide. So we go for lunch in the dining hall, and while we're having our conversations with our friend group wants to make plans to hang out later that evening. However, I told him, no, I can't make it. I have some assignments to work on. And then Sean here tells me that, yo, just copy my assignments, copy my answers. However, I'm like, no, it's okay. I won't cheat, it's okay. And then he pressures me. However, I just say, no, I'm not gonna copy your work, it's all right. And then he responds like, "You're too honest, Aaron. Do you really think that Bill Gates got to where he's at today because he acted ethically?" I honestly had no response to that. I was like so speechless because what I saw was him taking pride in being a cheater, a dirty little fucking cheater. So I just like froze there for a second, and I looked at him as somebody that had no values, not just as an engineer, but in life. And honestly, that moment, I don't know why, but it just fucking boiled something in me, like boiled anger developed in my head. And I think that's where a lot of my hatred for cheating engineering students roots from. The fact that my friend took so much pride in doing something that was wrong. That's some shit that you see from supervillains in some movie or something. And I was seeing it in real life. In another instance, one of our other friends, Andy, introduces me and Sean to ChatGPT. This was in 2023 when ChatGPT was still rising, right? And he introduces it to us and he says that, yo, you could just chat to this AI and it spits back answers to whatever concept you need. And I already know what the fuck Sean's thinking. I know he's gonna use it for homework and use it for all of his work in engineering so that he could take engineering school just easier, the easier way out. And he does. Every time that I study with him, he either has ChatGPT tabs open or he has Chegg open. My respect for him just keeps going down the more I study with him and the more I hang out with him. A few months later, we have an online portion of a dynamics exam due at the end of the day. And he tells me like, yo, me and some other friends, we're gonna do it in this one study room. You should join us. And given that the libraries were super full and that I didn't have a study room book for myself, I joined him and his friends. So I go into the study room and we all start our dynamics online exam. So I start working on my exam, grinding out questions, and then I hear all the other people in this study room just talking to each other like, oh yeah, I got this question. Oh, what do you think A is? Oh, what question A, question B. I got 16 millimeters per second for the velocity. All this like blabbering. And I just noticed that they're fucking cheating throughout this online exam. And I'm like, what the fuck? They didn't even fucking hesitate to try to do this engineering work on their own. They just immediately started cheating. And my hatred for cheating engineering students just kept boiling in my first year of engineering. I continued that exam, just working on my own. I got a good mark, but these guys also got a good mark from cheating. And it's the sad truth that it's just reality. I was just now seeing how common it is for engineering students to cheat throughout engineering school. And it wasn't okay. It's not okay. It still isn't today, and it will never be okay. And the engineering students that I've seen who cheated did it with pleasure. My first year of engineering school ended, and I took some time off to just reflect on my first year of engineering. And I noticed that I was surrounded a lot by these pretend-gineers, these cheating engineering students who act unethically, without integrity. And I thought to myself, this can't continue. I can't keep surrounding myself with them. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. I realized that I need fucking standards from myself. If I keep surrounding myself with these people, then I'm gonna be a fucking cheater myself. I'm gonna be a pretend-gineer myself. And if I kept on surrounding myself with all of those pretend-gineers, then this channel probably wouldn't exist today. I would have been a weak-minded engineering student. I would have been taking shortcuts. I would have been cheating, fucking skipping lectures to this day. And I wouldn't be working at this internship I'm at right now. It would probably be dangerous for me to work in an internship if I was unethically minded. It was then in my second year of engineering that I decided that I would stop hanging out with all of my old friends that I made in my first year of engineering school. This has been the truth for me throughout engineering school. I've been surrounded by pretend-gineers all the time, which is why I hate them so much. I've seen who they are. They with pleasure act unethically. That's shit. That's fucking villain behavior. And people say that that's okay. I don't fucking think so. That is not okay, which is why I make so many videos on this channel telling people that they gotta act ethically, that they mustn't be a pretend-gineer. That's why I fucking roast pretend-gineers all the time and look down on them. That's why I do it. Not just to make myself look better, but to make sure that my audience, you, people like you, my followers, don't act unethically and don't end up becoming a pretend-gineer, because I know that my audience, I know that you have so much potential in this career, in this field of engineering, and that you can do so much. If I had kept myself surrounded with all of those pretend-gineers, there wouldn't be this channel today. I wouldn't be inspiring all of the people that I see in my comments, the hundreds of people, the thousands of followers that I have. I wouldn't be doing all of this work today, because all of those pretend-gineers, they would have brought me down to their level if I had stayed with them. In an alternate universe, there would have been an Aaron Pretend-gineer channel where he tells you to abuse AI and abuse Chegg in order to get through engineering school. There's an alternate version of me out there in another universe, but in this universe, I'm here to tell you that you have great potential and that you shouldn't act without integrity, and that you should maximize your experience in engineering university. So please do so. Thank you for watching this far into the video. If you want to build a strong inner circle of like-minded engineering students, then join the program linked down in the description, where there is a community of all of the strongest minded engineering students out there. And I really think that you should join if you've made it this far. You can watch the courses as well. You can take the portfolio templates. This program was made for you to excel as an engineering student. Okay, so go check it out. Thank you so much for watching once again. Peace out.